Alex stood in the center of his dorm room, his hands trembling slightly as they hovered over a scattered mess of textbooks and highlighters. His eyes darted across the room, a bookshelf, desk, window, carpet, pausing on each object with unnerving familiarity. The ceiling fan hummed above him, casting rotating shadows across his face. He muttered under his breath, "I've done this before. All of it, exactly this." His roommate Jamie leaned against the doorframe, concern deepening in his expression. "Alex, you've barely slept in 3 days. You need to eat something. Come to class." "Man," Alex shook his head slowly, his gaze locked on a blinking cursor on his laptop screen. "Class? What's the point? I've already been. I know what the professor is going to say. I knew you were going to say that too. You're having DA copyright Yahoo. That's normal. Everyone gets it," Jamie said carefully. "No," Alex snapped, turning to face him with sharp, desperate eyes. "This isn't DA copyright Yahoo. This is a broken bar, something else. It doesn't stop. I'm trapped in it. I'm stuck. Time isn't moving forward. It's looping. It's the same lecture, same steps down the hall, same sounds from the window, over and over." Jamie tried to laugh it off. "Sounds like you're describing a bad sci-fi movie." "I wish it were a movie," Alex whispered. He backed away from the laptop and grabbed his phone from the desk. "Look at this. I recorded myself yesterday saying the same thing, and the day before that. Watch." He pulled up a video. On screen, a slightly more disheveled Alex sat in the same spot, the same lighting, same shirt. "You've watched this before," the video, Alex said, looking straight into the camera. "Haven't you?" Jamie's smile faded. "Okay, I'm a broken bar, that's weird. I told the neurologist," Alex continued. "They said maybe temporal lobe epilepsy. They gave me meds. Nothing changed. I'm still here. Still here." He tapped the side of his head, eyes wide, blinking rapidly. "I can't tell what's real anymore. This conversation, we've had it 100 times. Every time I say this to you, I feel it go further down, like I'm sinking into memory, a memory of a memory." "Dude, you're scaring me," Jamie muttered, stepping back slightly. Alex turned back to his laptop, pressed record on the webcam, and stared into the lens. "If you're watching this broken bar again, please tell me something's different this time." He didn't blink, and behind him, the ceiling fan kept turning, shadows sweeping over the room like a clock that never stopped ticking even as time itself refused to move on. Deschênes sat by the window of his quiet stone cottage in Normandy, the pale morning light filtering through lace curtains. A soft breeze stirred the edge of the newspaper on the table, but he didn't notice. He wasn't reading. He didn't read anymore. Marie placed a fresh cup of coffee beside him, watching him with quiet hesitation. "It's going to get cold again," she said gently. "I already drank it," Deschênes replied without looking at her. "Yesterday, maybe last week, I'm not sure anymore." She hesitated, then sat down across from him. "You haven't." "I just brewed it." "You haven't had anything yet this morning." Deschênes finally looked up at her. His face was drawn, pale, and his eyes, once sharp and curious, had a dullness to them, like a man who had stared too long at something he shouldn't have seen. "You don't understand," he said softly. "Every time I sit here, I remember sitting here. I remember exactly how it feels. I knew you'd say the coffee was getting cold. I knew that truck would pass by outside right now." Outside, a delivery truck crumbled past. Marie's hand twitched slightly. "It's just coincidence. You're tired. You haven't been yourself lately." "I'm not tired," Deschênes said. "I'm stuck. I wake up and I already know how the day will go, what you will wear, what words you'll choose. I stopped reading because I know how every story ends. I've read them all. I've lived them all." She looked down, struggling to find something to say. He continued, "When I walk down to the market, I see the same faces, in the same places, saying the same things. The butcher with the cleaver, the old woman at the bakery who forgets her change. Even the pigeons seem to land in the same pattern on the roof." "You're describing a routine," Marie said. "We all have patterns. That's life." "No," he whispered. "This isn't routine. This is a broken bar repetition. It's not that life is predictable. It's that I've already lived it." She reached across the table to touch his hand, but he pulled away, suddenly staring at the bookshelf across the room. "I remember dying," he said. I remember lying in bed, just over there, and knowing it was the end. I felt it. I was gone. Then I woke up again, and now it's all starting over. His voice shook slightly now. I think I've died hundreds of times, Marie, and each time I come back here, to this exact morning, with this exact newspaper, and you telling me the coffee is getting cold. Marie stood up, forcing herself to stay calm. You need help. I'm calling Dr. Valet again. This isn't just the copyright Yahoo anymore. Shen didn't move. He just kept staring at the bookshelf. Later that afternoon, he locked himself in his study. He didn't respond when she knocked. When she finally pushed open the door, he was gone. The window was closed. The room empty except for a single page taped to the door. In his precise handwriting, it read, I already lived this life. No need to. The clinic hallway smelled faintly of antiseptic and something older, something musty like forgotten rooms and worn paper. Patrick sat stiffly in the waiting room, his backpack still on, its straps greased and faded. He clutched a wrinkled tourist brochure in his hands. On it was a photo of Angkor Wat, glowing orange in a Cambodian sunrise. When Dr. Keene called his name, Patrick stood slowly, as if he already knew what was coming. He walked into the office like he had been there before, not just earlier that week, but in another life, maybe a dozen times already. Thank you for coming back, Patrick, Dr. Keene said kindly. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. You look tired. I didn't sleep much, Patrick replied, setting the brochure down carefully. Every time I close my eyes, I'm back in Thailand, or Morocco, or Laos, but I've never been anywhere. I haven't even been on a plane. Dr. Keene leaned forward slightly. Can you tell me more about the memories? Patrick blinked slowly. They're not dreams. That's what people keep thinking. They're memories, full, vivid, textured. I can smell lemongrass from a street stall in Chiang Mai. I remember the cracks in the tiles of a guest house bathroom in Hanoi. I even remember what the front desk clerk looked like. Her pink sweater, the chipped nail polish on her thumb. Do you think you might have read about these places, seen them online? The doctor asked gently. Patrick laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. You don't get it. I remember them, not from photos, from being there. I remember carrying that backpack in 38-degree heat, sweat dripping down my neck. I remember losing it on a train. I even remember the moment I bought a replacement in a little market in Maricopa. There was a boy selling scarves right beside me. He smiled at me like he'd seen me before. Dr. Keene scribbled something in his notebook but said nothing. I've started to recognize places before I see them, Patrick continued. I'll turn a corner in Dublin and feel like I'm about to walk into a square inches Vietnam. I'll smell incense in the air where there's no incense. I can't explain it. It's like I've been a broken bar everywhere, but never left home. The room was silent except for the ticking of an old wall clock. Patrick rubbed his temples, suddenly weary. I don't think this is the copyright Yahoo anymore, he said quietly. It's more than that. I think these are fragments from another life, or another version of me. Like maybe I lived it all once, somewhere else, and now it's leaking through. Dr. Keene asked, do you believe you're hallucinating? No, Patrick said firmly. I believe I've lived a life I haven't reached yet. Maybe I'll backpack through Asia in 10 years. Maybe I already did, in another version of me, but I remember it now. I remember it too well. He pulled out a journal from his backpack and handed it over. I've been writing down every memory, every city, every language, and the strange thing is, I'm starting to remember things I haven't written yet. Dr. Keene flipped through the pages. They were full of paragraphs, sketches, little maps, foreign phrases. It was like the travel diary of a seasoned wanderer. But Patrick had never left Ireland. That night, back in his flat, Patrick sat by the window, staring into the city lights. He didn't turn on the television. He didn't call anyone. He just opened his journal and wrote one last line at the bottom of a page. If memory lies, what's left of me? Then he closed the book, set it on the table, and whispered into the quiet. I've never been anywhere, but I remember everywhere. The hallway lights flickered again, casting long, stuttering shadows across the linoleum floor. It was just past 3 a.m. The hour when silence becomes heavy, like a blanket soaked in something ancient and unsettled. Most of the ward was asleep, save for the occasional cough behind a closed door or the muffled squeak of nurses' shoes on tile. Leela paused outside room 11, her hand hesitating on the handle. She heard whispering, soft, rhythmic, like a prayer, or a countdown. She knocked gently. "Nora, it's just me, sweetheart, everything okay?" No answer, just the whispering. She stepped inside. Nora was sitting upright in bed, her back stiff, her gaze fixed on the far wall where nothing but faded wallpaper and a crucifix hung. Her mouth moved, soundless now. She didn't blink. Leela approached slowly. "Can't sleep again?" Nora turned her head, slowly, as if her bones creaked with the effort. Her eyes were sharp and not confused or clouded like most of the patients. Alert, cold, watching something Leela couldn't see. "I've already died here," Nora said. Leela forced a smile. "No, sweetheart, you're just having one of those nights. Remember what Dr. Singh said about dreams feeling real?" Nora's lips twitched. Not to smile. Something else. "It's not a dream. This place here, this bed, this room up, it's where I always die, again and again. And every time, I wake up like nothing happened. But I remember the beeping machines slowing down, the faces leaning in close. I remember choking, the light flickering." Leela glanced at the monitor beside the bed. Heart rate, normal. Oxygen, normal. Everything normal. "And Yeda, you say that every week," Leela said, trying to sound light. "But you're still here, still feisty as ever." "I know," Nora whispered. "That's the worst part." She shifted slightly, her hands pulling the blanket higher. "Every time someone new walks in, I know their name before they say it. I know what questions they'll ask, when the lights will flicker, when the generator will fail, when the woman in 14B will stop breathing." Leela's hands froze. "I saw you come in," Nora added. 3 minutes before you knocked. You dropped your pen at the nurse's station. You picked it up, checked your badge, took a breath, then came here." Leela's mouth went dry. "You couldn't have seen that." "I remember it," Nora said simply. She turned her head again, this time to the ceiling, staring at the vent above her bed. "There's a sound I hear right before it happens, a humming, deep and low, like it's under the floor. It starts just before the lights cut out, like now, as if on cue." The fluorescent light above them blinked once, twice, then darkness. A heartbeat passed. Then the emergency lights clicked and a dull red glows at the end of the hallway. Somewhere, a monitor began beeping too fast. Shouts rose from another room. Leela reached for her radio. She turned to Nora, but the bed was empty. No signs of struggle, no sign of movement, just the blanket, slightly sunken in the middle, as if someone had been lying there a moment ago. The crucifix on the wall tilted slightly to the left, as if nudged. The intercom system crackled to life, though no one was near it, just static. And then, clear as a whisper and the wind, "This is where it ends." Again.